Everybody, it is Romania Black, and we're on the final episode of Bloom Into You. It feels weird. It doesn't feel right. I don't know how to feel about it. I definitely want to read the manga, at least read up to the first 4 volumes and see what that's like and take notes and do things like that. And I don't know if I'm going to react to the rest. I don't know if I'm just going to do a giant review. I haven't decided that. I said I would, but I'm still like debating it. So I'm also recording this pretty far ahead. So I feel like by the time you all get to this episode, I will have made a decision. And by that point, I will have probably told Patreon as well as the Discord, as well as YouTube. So, or have it like in the comment link down below what I'm going to do about it. So yeah, I'll also probably have talked about it in the December video by that point, what I'm going to do. So I feel like by the time you watch this video, I will have decided what to do with the manga, but right now I'm still unsure. I at least want to read the first 4 volumes and take notes and then decide what to do with the other 4 volumes. So we will see. We'll see where that goes and how the channel is at that point. But with that being said, I am pretty excited about what's coming on in this episode, because last episode was it was so tense and it felt claustrophobic, and which it was called suffocating, so it makes sense. And Yuu and Nanami kind of reached this breaking point, and still Nanami, is trying to say, I don't need to pick who I am or decide I'm going to keep being somebody that I'm not. And Yuu has decided to take matters into her own hands. Nanami said take the initiative, and she has. Now we get to see what the aftermath of this is. And I know that it's the season finale and a lot of things are on the line, and there's probably not going to be resolution in this episode. I've just already kind of made myself know that this is probably going to end on a weird note, because it's like halfway through the manga and the tension, you can't do the play and resolve all the tension and get your cake and eat it too in one 23-minute episode. So I'm sure that we still have plenty to go through in the manga with this couple. But I want to say thank you to all of those who recommended Bloom Into You. I chose this at random on the spinning wheel of fate as the romance series for this fall, and I've really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised by how complex it is, because nothing against Kase-san and Morning Glory. That was like my only entry into GL before this, and it's fine. Kase-san is fine, but to me, in my opinion, it's still worth watching, but it does not go into the depth that this series went to with the relationships and everything encapsulating it. And I was so pleasantly surprised by that. And that gives me a lot of excitement for future GL series that I could watch on the channel, right? Obviously, I'm watching, Revolutionary Girl Utena, which is pretty much a GL. And I've watched Puella Magi Madoka Magica, which is pretty much a GL if you want to go see those series. But yeah, this one has been such a pleasant surprise, and I've really, really enjoyed it. And it has me looking forward to possible GL in the future. So thank you all, Patreon and YouTube, for recommending that series so much, because that's how it made it on the spinning wheel of fate to begin with. Anyway, so I'm really excited to dive into this episode and see what we get. But I just have no clue how they're going to wrap up this season in this one episode. That seems nigh impossible, but we'll see what we do. And my dogs will probably be loud because I just got home a little while ago and they've not been fully played with yet, but it is what it is. So we're going to start episode 13 of Bloom Into You, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Of course, the airplanes. It's like a staple of a romance to have an airplane shooting across the sky. Oh. Ah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Then what? Oh, and like the cicada wings. Yeah, what happens then? Yeah, like what do you do then? Oh, you guys are back. Can we get a table in the back? Like they're, regulars. She's kept up. Well, I mean, Rico's in that too. Oh. Shrimp pilaf with iced coffee, girl. Speaking my language. I feel like Kiyomi was. What was she? Was she trying to figure something out? Like how she knew about the stage play? Hmm. Ah. Like how do we make it consistent? We can't have a Phantom Menace scenario. We got to make it all add up. She's like, I'd rather have a quality script than one that was convenient. Oh. All right. Good. Good, good, good. I thought she was going to suggest this is going to get Nanami pissed off at you because probably. Also, the shopkeeper's watching them all. Oh. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, the title. Oh, if they call it Bloom Into You, it's like her blooming into herself. Oh, maybe that's it. Roll credits. That's what you could title it. Okay. Interesting. Oh. Oh, is she going to spill the beans before they even find out? Hmm. Oh, are they going to find out this way? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. She's like, oh, I don't have to worry about it. Or were they really close? My heart is like racing that she's gonna spill the beans that they've changed the ending. Hmm. Well, I mean, it was to see her sister's grave, so. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, so it was a more somber trip than. Oh. But she, but she doesn't really even know. Because her version of it, she thinks is wrong. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. Uh-huh. Right, absolutely. That's absolutely true. Oh, damn. I feel so it feels so wrong because I want Sayaka to be happy, but at the same time I'm like, girl, you know that she likes you, so it feels almost like Sayaka's butting in. But on the other hand, she's just trying to be a friend, so it's complicated. But yeah, like her reaching her hand back, like she clearly likes her, but it's like, why is this a triangle? What's with these LGBT people playing shapes? Mm. But why not? Like, at some point, you're going to have to stop, right? That was what you were saying earlier at the grave. What happens? When do you stop? Yeah, exactly. When does it stop? Yeah, you're not going to be in the student council forever. So then what happens after that? Your sister never made it to that point. Oh. 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 Hmm. Oh, girls. Oh. Oh, that's adorable. Nice. You the only one that gets to come in while it's closed. Oh. Hmm. Oh, I love that. That reminds me of my aunt and uncle. Like, fine. Hmm. She's like, what? Oh, she's bi. Oh. Oh. Yeah. That should make you more special. Mm. Oh. Ah. Hmm. Oh, okay. We'll talk about this in the discussion. Ha! Hmm. Oh, we're going to talk about this in discussion, but I love the conversations happening here. To the last stop. Lighthouse. Interesting. Hmm. Aqua World. There was an ad for that by the train station. Aw. That backpack would be something that Kiyomi would want. Aw. Yeah, she's like, why not have fun? Aw. She does have a lot of jellyfish, doesn't she? Oh, it's an octopus. How do you not know? Aw. Aw. Come see these dolphins flip. Aw. So cute. Get in the splash zone. Yeah. Because you're going to get splashed, girl. Uh-huh. She's like, I was going to say, is she going to be like sitting down? Shirley! That was cute. Yeah, like 100 yen for a poncho, that's not bad. Oh, and the water show, that's pretty. Ah! Aww. I feel like this is all gonna be so cute and wholesome up until Nanami figures out they've changed the ending, and then she's gonna get mad. So it's like, we're gonna butter you up before then. Aww. Aw, yeah. Nice, yes. A mountain, you say? I like that their colors of the drinks match them. Oh. Oh. Mm. Hmm. Someone you can say it to. Hmm. Well, that's an interesting point. That you can, and then that, and it's okay. Oh. So it's something that's hers. Yeah, you may just never have known, actually. Right. Oh. Oh. Wow. Oh, and the eye twitch. Mm. Like they're on the same wavelength. Oh. Oh. Oh, it's so good. Oh, that was such a good moment. She's like, it's okay. You're just being you. Oh. What is this? Oh. Hmm. There's nobody around. For now. It's like it's on almost on the verge of role playing, but they are practicing for a play. Oh, are we gonna like... Uh-huh. Hmm. Oh. Oh. Hmm. And we're gonna like test that out here. Oh. Oh, now there's people there. Oh. 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 Uh. And now it's her reaching for her instead of you reaching for Nanami. Wow. Oh, wow. And that's the end? Oh, I can see why people were like, oh, you have to read the manga. Oh my god. But how could they end it there? No. We still have the play. Oh. Are you like Midorima and listen to the Osasa? Oh. 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 Hmm. Ah. Hmm. Aw. 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 I am so amazed. This is where it ends. What? I mean, I'm glad that they're not like rushing through this because this is so beautiful, but I'm kind of stunned, like speechless that we don't get to the play. Ah. Okay, we may have to react to the manga. We may have to. We may have to the last 4 volumes. We may have to do like an Uramichi Onisan moment with this, honestly. Yeah. That might have to happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about that. Well, you know. Huh. Ah! They're at the aquarium and she's stuck doing all the rewrites. Aww. Oh, Sayaka. You're gonna do Bloom into You? Or one of you? Hmm. Aww. Huh? Huh? Aww. Aww, that's so cute! Ah, oh, come on now. Ah! Ah! I can't believe that that's the end of the season. No way. No way. And there's no end of it, is there? Oh my gosh. Well. Okay. All right. I'm okay. Well. I can see now why you all see. Here's the thing: if I had naturally, if I hadn't been kind of spoiled about it from the beginning, and I made it to this point, then I would have been like, you know, it's so weird. Okay, so the last series I watched before this one was Uramichi Onisan, and with that series, the way that its season ended, it didn't feel like a season finale. And so I was like, well, I got to read the manga now. And so I did like a catch up of the manga that encapsulated the anime. And then I reacted to the volumes that came afterwards. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do that with this series because we can't leave it here. We just can't, right? We can't just not have knowledge of what happened next. So no, I'm going to have to read the other manga is what's going to have to happen. It's just going to have to be that way. I'm going to read the other manga and catch up. I'm going to have to read the first 4 volumes, and then maybe we can do 5 and 6 together and 7 and 8 together and call it good. Maybe we can do that, but it's going to have to happen because I need to know. You can't just end without them doing the play and knowing how it all goes down. Damn it, why didn't you make this 24 episodes or 16 episodes or whatever? They could have made a 24 episode series or a 25 episode series and encapsulated the whole manga. They could have done that. But when did out of curiosity, out of curiosity, when did, because this was in 2018, so when did this manga end? Okay, the manga ended in 2019, so it ended the year after this TV series completed. Okay, well now wait a minute. That's such a cheap shot, because you know what they could have done? They could have just done like a split cour like they do nowadays, like it's nothing. And they could have been like, okay, well, these were the 13 episodes. Now we're going to work on the other 13 and finish the manga out. They could have done that. But Sentai Film Works? What are you doing? Now, I'm not going to read the light novels. I'm not much of a light novel reactor. It has to be a very special circumstance. So I'm not going to read the light novels, but there's only 8 volumes of the manga. And everybody said the first 4.5 encompass the anime. So that would only be just a couple more. So, you know, yeah, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have to do that. We're going to have to do that. I already have a series picked out that's going to start next Friday. So I may just have to do like the manga reactions maybe on Thursday afternoons for the next couple weeks and do that. And then that way we can just finish out and do it that way, finish out the reactions for it and do that. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that's how it ended. I'm really happy with where it's at. I was afraid it was going to be like an angsty cliffhanger, which here's the thing. I still think there's going to be angst to come, because here's the thing. We also didn't get the OP this episode, which sad days. I kind of miss the OP and ED, but it's fine. But I'm glad we didn't end on an angsty note, because that would have been really sad to have ended and it just be like Angst City with them. So I am glad for that. That's fine. But man, I'm glad it didn't end on angst, but you know it's coming, because what I do like about this series that it does so well is that it keeps this conversation between Yuu and Nanami continuing, where Yuu just keeps trying to pull it out of Nanami and make her think about herself, consider her identity, what does she want to do, and she keeps challenging Nanami, which is great. And we'll talk about Sayaka here in a second, but I like that Yuu challenges Nanami. She wants to help Nanami and she wants to nurture her, but she also doesn't want her to be unhappy. And she's like, look, you need to challenge yourself and figure out what you want to do and come to terms with all this. So I'm going to try to help you through that and be supportive of you. And that's great for you, right? And we'll talk about her role in this. The episode also did a really good job of bookending. You had Nanami at the very beginning of the episode, like looking up at the sun as, of course, the planes fly by. Anytime there's a romance, whether it's Given, whether it's Skate the Infinity, I think it does it, Banana Fish does it. There's always like an airplane shooting across the air. Like it's just a sign of these characters in contemplation. And you kind of mix not only that of her looking up at the sky with her at the very end looking up at the light in the aquarium. Like it's bookended really well. And I thought that was super smart. And I liked that a lot. My dogs were being so frustrating. They were just chasing each other and being so loud. Maybe you all couldn't hear it on the microphone, but I could. They were being the worst. So anyway, here's the thing about Nanami. She brings up a good question about herself in all of this. And the question that she asks is, after this is all said and done, then what? And that's something to kind of think about, because she's doing this play for the student council because her sister never got to finish it. And she's been trying to embody her sister. And this would be like the ultimate, I am doing what my sister could not do moment. And that's great and everything. But what it does is also bring to light the idea that her sister unfortunately passed away while she was in high school. Nanami has no clue what her sister wanted to do. She has no clue what her future plans were, or if she does, she hasn't said them, but she doesn't know what her sister was going to do as an adult. And for Nanami, after high school, what then? You can't be your sister forever because your sister didn't exist forever. Like her sister has a timeline that stops, and she's going to exceed that timeline. So then what does she become, and what can she do? So I feel like at the grave site here, she finally has that realization of, oh, and I like that they portray like the cicada wings floating down the river, because it's kind of like the cicadas are a symbol of youth and summer, and it's like they're slowly molting. So she's shedding that skin that's her sister, and she's becoming herself. And it's like, and that's a scary thing. If you've tried to be something for so long and you come to the sudden realization that you can't be that anymore, then you're kind of left with this identity crisis. And I feel for her. It's like, well, what are you going to do? And so she has to kind of figure that out for herself. I'm glad that the coffee shop keeper is not a bitch. By that, I mean, she's not trifling, because I was fully anticipating. I thought it was going to be a big moment of drama, right? I thought that you had Kiyomi and Yuu coming in to work on the script. And then later on, you had Nanami and Sayaka come into the same cafe. And I kept thinking that she was unsuspectingly going to be like, oh, well, your friends were here working on the script. Something about a new ending or something. You guys are changing up. And it was going to be like all this drama. I was waiting for it. And that luckily did not happen. I was like, oh, thank goodness. It could still happen, but not in the anime. It could still happen in the manga. We don't know yet, right? But I also thought that she was going to point out to Riko, or, you know, comment to Sayaka being like, you know, you and Nanami are supposed to be together, but, you know, you guys are the ones hanging out together. What's the deal? But we don't get that. I also got the impression that Kiyomi was trying to like use her skills of observation to make a note about the tea shop owner, because the tea shop owner knows about the play and everything. And I kept wondering if Kiyomi was curious why that was, or how she knew so much and hadn't made the connection that they were married, Riko and her. So, no, you wanting shrimp pilaf with iced coffee. I mean, I drink coffee with my lunch all the time, so I have no right to judge. But so she's like, let's see, where did we get last time? And they're like, we were adding the new scene after this part here. And she's like, oh, yeah. I loved this part where she's like, well, we have to make sure it's consistent with all the other ones. If you've ever watched the behind the scenes making of Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, there is some infamous clips, because if you've not seen The Phantom Menace, it makes choices. But one of the big things is that the ending is a lot. And there's a behind the scenes scene with the footage that shows George Lucas, the director, meeting with the editors, and they come to this horrific conclusion that they can't change the ending because it will mess up the entire movie and make no sense. And so it becomes this big, giant problem. And here, I like that Kiyomi's like, look, we don't want to have a Phantom Menace moment. We got to make sure this is all consistent and works, right? And they're like, well, we'll just decide what to do and write it out, and we can adjust everything to be consistent afterwards. And she's like, I can put in as much effort as necessary to make it interesting, so it's no problem. I like that Komi's like, I want to make this good. I like that she also says, you know, this is probably going to result in, at first I thought she was going to say this is going to result in Nanami being pissed that you changed the ending and are trying to make her character have like a real life identity thing on stage, intervention. But then she says it's going to make your character have more lines. And Yu's like, I like that Yu says, well, I'm the one that suggested the change, so yeah. I like that little moment of growth with Yu's character where she's like, you know what? I made that suggestion, so sure. Why not? Why not I have more lines? But yeah. She's like, when she reads the script, what's she going to have to say? And Yu's like, well, I want to see her. At least I think I do. But I can't be the one. I like that. It's interesting that both Yu and Nanami question wanting to see each other. And at first Yu's like, I don't need to be the one to initiate it, because she's like, I'm over here saying that I'm not in love with her, but at the same time I want to see her. And I like that in the end it was Yu that initiated them meeting up, and Nanami was okay with it. I liked, again, that was like a moment of growth for Yu, that she got to take the initiative and it felt organic, and it worked out for them, which is great. So yeah, so then Sayaka and Nanami come in, right? And I like that the tea shop owner gives her a little bit of grief over it. And they sit there, and so here's the thing. What I thought was fascinating was that the tea shop owner was a little bit jealous because the man friend was helping out from the theater troupe. And it's interesting that one thing that I think is so fascinating, and I'm going to be curious if it comes up in the manga, is if she talks about that jealousy with Sayaka, if that's going to come up. Because, yeah, at first I was like, well, why are you jealous that it was the guy? Like, you're with a woman, it's fine. But then you find out that Rico's bisexual, and you're like, oh, okay. And something I really like about this show is when they talk about sexuality, stereotypically and unfortunately, I think that people that are bisexual in media, I think they often get the shaft because, especially like in the late 90s, early 2000s, anytime there was like a bisexual character, it's like the stereotype is that since they're into both genders, that they're like hypersexual or like all about. I think of Rent. If I'm being honest, I think of the one bisexual character in Rent, and she's like, to quote Lindsay Ellis, Slutty McSlutterson, and she's just like into everybody, and that's kind of the thing. And I feel like if you are bisexual, that that's not the case. And so I like that this show is so mature and addresses bisexuality, with the tea shop owner being like, you know, do you prefer men or women? Because you like both. So do you have a preference? And the way that Rico answers it is she's like, well, I'm not really attracted to other women, but I'm attracted to you. So I felt like it was also a subversion of a Donmai trope, because if you've ever, or a BL trope, because if you've read BL or read Donmai specifically, a lot of characters that I've read in that genre so far, they may not be homosexual necessarily or exclusively, but they are into that person. So they're demisexual for that said male character, or they are into being in a relationship with that male character, but no other male characters. It's just them. And it might be a pansexual thing or a demisexual thing, or however you want to define it. But this feels like that version of that, where she's like, well, I'm not really attracted to other women, but I do like you. So I guess that makes you the exception. And that kind of elevates you above all the other people I could be attracted to, because you're an exception to the rule. So it's a compliment, but I just like the fact that this series delves into relationships with so much maturity. And it's neat to see that even though the coffee shop owner is a great role model for Sayaka and a great representation of being, you know, in a non-heterosexual relationship as an adult, it's still a great reminder that even these people who can be great representation, they are not without flaws or worries or concerns or insecurities. Even if you're an adult, they're still insecure. Even if you've been in a relationship for 20 years, there can still be insecurity within it, and it's totally fine. That's just part of it. So I like that this show represents that, which is great. So then they talk about what Nanami did over a break. And at first, you know, Sayaka's like, well, how was going to the other town? Did you have a lot of fun? And Nanami's like, oh, nothing special. You know, we went to a festival, went to my sister's grave. And then at that point, she's like, oh, oops, shouldn't have asked about that. But I do like that Sayaka is, here's the reason why I got a little bit nitpicky at Sayaka in that moment. After the fact, I totally understand where Sayaka's coming from. And what I appreciate is that she is trying to take the initiative to get to know the real Nanami slowly, one step at a time. She's not asking what Nanami is like. It's kind of clever. Sayaka is like, can you tell me what your sister was like? Because then she's like, well, if this is what your sister's like, and you're not exactly like that, then I can start piecing together maybe who you actually are. And it's showing Sayaka taking the initiative to figure that out, which is great, which is wonderful, which is being a good friend. And I like that Nanami, you know, it's making Nanami kind of come out of her shell for more people than just you, which is great. And she's like, you know, if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. And then she brings back the coffee, and the innkeeper's like, oh, this is some tea going on. I'm going to leave these two ladies by themselves. And she's like, well, I can only talk about my sister as I knew her. And what's so crazy about this conversation is that Nanami's like, well, I can only talk about my sister as I knew her in the moment. And then Yuu later is like, I can only talk about you as I know you now. not how you were back then. So it's like bringing up the same conversation, but in a different way. And then when she's like, I'm not sure if that was the real her or not, I like that Sayaka reaches out for her to pat her on the shoulder, and then she grabs her hand because that's a more intimate, like, personal gesture. And she's like, well, that's still part of who she was. And the sister that you knew was one part of the real her, without a doubt. And I liked that part. So I like that Sayaka is trying to subtly tell Nanami what you and the others are trying to tell her, except she's going through her sister to do it. She's like, well, your sister was all of these different things to different people. The troop leader knew her as one thing, you know her as another, your parents know her as something else. Those parts are not lies. They are all the truth of who she was. You can be a different person to different people. That's fine. She's like, that's just part of the real her. And in a subtle way, she's telling Nanami that, you are, Nanami, a person who has multiple sides to your personality, and people view you in different ways. And that doesn't mean you're being disingenuous. It just means that you're a multi-layered person that people see from different angles, right? It's kind of like the mosaic lamp that's in the background. It's like you can see different colors in a person, and that's fine. That means that they're a three-dimensional person. So Sayaka's argument is helping the cause, and she's trying to get to know Nanami a little bit better and put her at ease. And I'm fine with that. I think that that's really sweet. And I like that Sayaka's being so kind. And she's like, I want to hear what kind of person she was to you. Like, that's really good friend stuff right there, right? That's really good friendly things to say. The thing that bothers me a little bit with Sayaka, especially because she reaches out her hand. Again, we've had 3 moments. We've had you reaching out to Nanami back at the beginning of the series and Nanami walking away. Then we had Sayaka reaching out to Nanami and realizing when you reaches out to Nanami at the beginning, she feels like she doesn't understand the love that Nanami gives her. And she doesn't understand that love, and she wishes that she did. Then you have Sayaka reaching out to Nanami, and she wants to tell Nanami that she loves her and express that love, but she's afraid it's going to tear them apart and then they won't be friends anymore. And then you have Nanami at the end reaching out for you in this crazy triangle. And Nanami is trying to understand, like, where Yu's coming from and to be like a genuine person to you, but then she's stuck in her own head. So my thing is, I don't like home wreckers. I don't like home wreckers, right? That's my one thing. Like going through the quote unquote dating scene, the moment somebody was like, oh, I'm interested in this person, I was like, okay, well then we're good. I didn't want to get in between that relationship, or if somebody was dating somebody or whatever, I'm like, I don't want to get in the middle of that relationship. You all do your thing. And I know that people will comment and say, well, you and Nanami aren't technically dating, but I'm like, but if I was Sayaka and I knew that Nanami was actively pursuing you and that you was liking her, and she's not inserting herself in between them, which is fine, but she also was super rude to you the other episode, and I feel like there's a potential for her to try to wedge herself in there and be like, well, if you ever get mad at you, I'll always be here for you. I don't know. Sayaka just, there's one element to her character that I'm like, are you going to be a homewrecker? And I hope that I'm proven wrong, and that's not the case, but I want to see what the manga ends up doing, right? I feel bad for her because unrequited love sucks, but I'm like, the next thing Nanami does when she gets to the train station, she's not thinking of Sayaka, she's thinking of contacting you. So it's like, but again, she questions like, what do I do? Do I play my sister to the very end? And then what? What happens when I finish the show? She's like, I don't know. I like that we had the foreshadowing of Aqua World. And then she's like, I want to be with her. And she's like, I want you to tell me it'll be all right. Because use that comfort for her. She's like, she did tell me it was okay to indulge myself, but she's like, I don't want to overdo it. And then they see each other. So yeah, I mean, I fully expect Sayaka to keep being the friend, but I feel for Sayaka. I feel bad for her because I want Sayaka to find love, but I don't want her to jeopardize what you and Nanami have, and I don't want her to end up heartbroken. And I feel like if she tries to wedge herself between, if she's towing that line, Sayaka is, between being a really supportive friend, but when you know that she has a crush on her, it's like you're towing that line between you becoming a homewrecker and being the best friend. So I'm like, I don't want Sayaka to toe that line and fall over the edge, but maybe she won't. We'll just have to see in the manga. So yeah. So one thing I really liked was that as soon as Riko came in, the shopkeeper, she was like, oh, well, I'll put this out. And she's like, if you smoke at home, I'm going to get upset, but it's fine in the shop. My aunt and uncle were the same way. My uncle was a like heavy smoker. And my aunt was like, I don't care where you smoke as long as it's not in the house. And he was very, very, very compliant as far as that went. But that's when she's like, do you prefer men or women? And she's like, well, she's like, I don't have a special interest in women, but you're different. So she's like, you're a special case. Anyway, so then we have the aquarium scene, which takes up the majority of this episode. And I'm not mad that the episode takes up the rest of this is with the aquarium scene. I actually think it's really super cute and I like it. And I'm glad that we do it because I would have hated it if they just skipped over this altogether or made it like a little montage. I like the idea that it's showing Yuu and Nanami hanging out and getting to do fun date things because this is a date, right? But also you liking octopus, liking the octopus. That's super cute. The jackfish octopus or flapjack octopus. I like that. That's her favorite. And it seems like Nanami likes like the mantises and the dolphins. There were so many little cute moments. I loved when they just like were just looking at each other back and forth through the aquarium. Super cute. And so then they get to see the dolphin show. I like that they both hesitated to sit in the front row in the splash zone, but Yu's kind of a little bit of a thrill seeker. She's like, "Come on, you want to sit? You want to do it? Like you want to sit in the splash zone with a poncho? Let's go!" I thought that was super. For you to be so bold and ambitious, I liked it. I like that side of you. I want to see more of it. But yeah, super cute. And then the two of them still seeing half the aquarium and talking about wanting to come back here and do other things. I thought that was neat. And then she's like, well, I'd like to do something outdoorsy with you. Like, I love the idea that Nanami's like, I want to do all these things with you. And Yu's like, cool, I'm up for anything. And then she's like, you use that word love when you say I love you so without any hesitance. And I loved her explanation here. She's like, it's something that's her own. And Yu is like, well, isn't it supposed to mean more to the person you say I love to too? And she's like, the fact that I can fall in love with someone feels like something that's mine. I don't know if my sister was in love with anybody. It's possible she was, but we just never knew. And she says, but even if the rest of me is a lie, I can say with confidence the part that likes you is not. That part got me, where she was like, even if I'm pretending, even if the rest of me is an illusion and I'm just trying to be my sister or someone that I'm not, I can say I love you so confidently because that's the one part of me that is genuine. And it's like, oh, I'm like, oh my God, are you joking? Are you joking? And Yu's like, huh. She's like, relieved to have proof of yourself despite the fact that you want to become your sister. And that's when she's like, well, that's... And Nanami's like, it's self-contradictory, isn't it? And I feel like Nanami was expecting her to like chide her. I think Nanami was expecting you to be like, well, that's contradictory. That's being a hypocrite. Like, how can you say that about yourself? But that's not where Yu takes it. She's like, it's fine for people to be self-contradictory, honestly. And the way that Nanami like looks at her in that moment, that's probably the thumbnail, is the swishing of her hair in that moment. But here's the thing. You can say that because Yu is kind of self-contradictory. Because Yu's like, oh, I don't think I know what love is, and I don't understand this feeling, and I don't love or hate anything. But then at the same time, she wants to be with Nanami. She wants to be near her. She wants to be in a relationship with her. And that is self-contradictory too. So I feel like Yu is just addressing, like, you know, pot calling the kettle black. You can be self-contradictory and so can I. That's okay. We're just two humans. It's fine. I love it. I absolutely love it. So they're waiting for the penguin show, and that's when they decide to act out the scene. And slowly, Yu starts to reveal that they're changing the ending and helping with the script. And I'm glad she like says it to Nanami in this episode, that she's like, "Hey, we're changing the script." And Nanami's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "All this added dialogue," and she's like, "Do you really need to make a choice?" And then Nanami's like, "Well, but," she's like, "I have to make a choice because otherwise I need some," she's like, "I have to choose someone because I have no memories. So even though you know me as this, what am I supposed to do with that? I have nothing to define me." And that makes me so sad because I'm like, Nanami, I feel, has stuff to define her. Like, the play can be something that defines her because her sister didn't do that. But also, like, the relationships she has with Sayaka and Yu, the role she has as the student president is not like her sister's. So I feel like she does have things that define her. She just doesn't have any faith in them. And I feel like Yu wants her to have faith in that, but she doesn't know how to articulate that yet. And that's when the penguin parade starts. And so as she starts to like go over there, I like that we see Nanami like reaching for her, just like Sayaka reached for Nanami and Yu reached for Nanami. But then the thing of it is, not Yu turns back around. Nanami didn't turn back around earlier for Sayaka or Yu, but in this, Yu turns back around to her and calls out to her and reaches for her. And that's the difference, is that she turns back to get her. And that's what makes that scene so good, is that they hold hands and walk through the parade and everything. It's so cute. But yeah, they try to get all the toys. I love the little end montage. It's so cute. And then, yeah, them holding hands and walking through the rest of the aquarium. I love it. It's so good. But yeah, I wish this would never end. So yeah, I also like Daojima. Like, poor Kiyomi, she's working on the script and everyone, she's like, nobody else is helping with the script. Nobody else is helping with this, damn it. And then you have Maki. I like that Daojima's like, "Hey bro, what's up?" And he's like, "Oh hey." And then Akari gets to see Ogaki senpai, the other basketball guy. And I do want Sayaka to be happy. I just don't want her to get her heart broken with Nanami. And then she almost comes to the idea on the train of Bloom into You. She's thinking one of you, and it's like, you're so close. Bloom into You is going to be the title of that damn play. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And then she falls asleep with her on the train. She almost reaches for her arm. She reaches for her hand at the very end, though, which is sweet. And the two of them get to be together. I love it. Oh, I love that. And I love the little ending with them. Cute. So, yeah, I think what I'm going to do is look into the first 4 volumes, see what differences there are from the anime, and then when we start volume 5, I'll report back to you on that. And the next couple weeks, we'll just check out the rest of the manga and do reactions to the new manga that we haven't seen yet. So it'll be like since Janyu Yaoi is all about BL, this will be like what is it, December? Galcember maybe, and have some GL in there. We'll see about that, Galcember. But yeah, I can't stop now, not when we don't know how the play goes. I feel like since we're halfway through, I don't know if they will have the play be the climax or if the play is just going to end and then we'll move into something else. I don't know, but I'm super excited to find out with you all in the manga, because I can't just stop here. And, you know, I could wait to see if there's a season 2, but no. So, oh my gosh, this was such a good episode. It did not feel like a season finale, though. It did not. And that's okay because we have the manga to check out. So they'll probably be for the next couple weeks on Thursdays because, like I said, I've got a series that's going to come out on Friday. Maybe it'll be Friday afternoon. Maybe by the time you've watched this video, I will have a comment down in the comments below explaining when the manga reactions are going to be on the channel. But they are coming. They're going to have to because we can't just stop Bloom Into You now without hearing the rest of the story. Right? So that's where we're going. Hope y'all are ready. In any case, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, don't worry. I'll be back very soon with some more manga to go along and finish out our journey with Bloom Into You. Bye.